Happy morning, my dear students. How are you all? Hope your YouTube classes are going well. So let us begin our today's topic, that is Chapter 2, Classification of Plants. Children, in the previous video, I already have completed the explanation of the chapter till last kingdom, that is kingdom Plantae. So today we are going to recap the two main kingdoms, that means kingdom Fungi and kingdom Plantae. So the topic is classification of plants. So just recap the chapter considering the topics one by one. First of all, the 5 kingdom classification given by Robert Whittaker, and he has divided or categorized the living world into 5 main kingdoms, that is number 1 kingdom Monera, number 2 kingdom Protista, number 3 kingdom Fungi, number 4 kingdom Plantae, and number 5 kingdom Animalia. So these are the 5 main kingdoms given by Robert Whittaker. So we can divide or categorize all the organisms which are present on this planet Earth. So we can place them under these 5 kingdoms based on their characteristic features. So children, I already explained to you these 5 kingdoms, the main example, the main organisms which belongs to this kingdom, and the characteristic features of the organisms belonging to these 5 kingdoms. And whenever we study about any classification, any hierarchy, we always move from simple to complex. So if I'll ask you children, which is the simplest kingdom or the simplest organisms belongs to which kingdom, you will say kingdom Monera. Then if I'll ask that the most complex or most evolved organisms belongs to which kingdom, that is kingdom Animalia. That means kingdom Animalia is the most advanced, most complex kingdom. So we have to move step by step from kingdom Monera to kingdom Animalia. Now we already have discussed all these 5 kingdoms. So today we will recap 2 main kingdoms, that is kingdom Fungi and kingdom Plantae, one by. Okay children, so first of all let us recap kingdom Fungi. The main characteristics of the organisms belonging to kingdom Fungi are, they all are eukaryotes, that means they have organized nucleus which is surrounded by the nuclear membrane. The organisms are multicellular, means more than one cell. The cell has cell wall surrounding the cell. Outside the cell membrane, cell wall is present, and they are known as saprotrophs or saprophytes. That means they depend on dead and decaying organic matter. That is their mode of nutrition, that they feed on dead and decaying organic matter. And this is the main difference between the organisms of kingdom Fungi and the next kingdom, kingdom Plantae. What is the main difference? Kingdom Fungi, they don't have chlorophyll. That means they cannot prepare their own food. That is why they are saprotrophs or saprophytes. But the organisms belonging to kingdom Plantae, they all have the chlorophyll so that they can prepare their own food. That is why they are known as autotrophs. So first of all, the main characteristic features of the organisms belonging to kingdom Fungi. Let us recap one by one. They may be unicellular, multicellular, or filamentous, means thread-like appearance. And the example of unicellular fungi is yeast. So you can learn the example of one unicellular fungi, that is yeast. Second point, they don't have chlorophyll. That means they cannot prepare their own food. Third, they live on dead and decaying organic matter. That is why they are known as saprotrophs or saprophytes. And the mode of nutrition in kingdom fungi is saprophytic or saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Then comes the examples. You can see here the examples. Mushroom, toadstools, bracket fungi. They can grow on tree trunk. And the bread mold. Common name is bread mold and the scientific name is Rhizopus, that grows on the stale bread. So we have discussed, explained to you the various life processes of the fungus bread mold or Rhizopus. The scientific name is Rhizopus and the common name is bread mold. So let us recap the points one by one. Rhizopus commonly grows on the stale bread. The body is made up of the thread-like structures known as hyphy, singular hypha. A network of hyphae is called mycelium. That means many hyphae together. They form the group or network known as mycelium. Then what kind of structure a hyphae has? The erect hyphae, that means the stalk of the hyphae, is called sporangiophores and the rounded bodies are called sporangium. And the sporangium have the spores inside it. When the sporangium bursts open, then the spores can fall down on the substratum, that means the suitable surface, and then each one can grow into the new mycelium. This is the basic structure of hyphae. I explained the same with the help of diagram. You can see here. The stalk is known as sporangiophore. Then the rounded tip is known as sporangium. And inside sporangium present spores. Then this is the root-like structures which can fix the hyphae into the surface. They are known as rhizoids. So these all together form the hyphae, singular, and the network of hyphae is known as mycelium. Then the next comes the mode of nutrition. The mode of nutrition is aerobic. What do you understand by the term aerobic respiration, children? Just recall the respiration which takes place in the presence of oxygen. And that is why bread mold grows on the surface of the bread. That means the top layer of the bread. Next is the mode of nutrition. We already have discussed that the mode of nutrition is saprophytic or saprotrophic. That means they obtain their nutrients or nourishment from dead and decaying organic matter. Then the digestion. The hyphae secretes the digestive juices which contains the enzymes, and these enzymes convert starch into glucose. Then the glucose is absorbed through the body surface and it will be stored in the form of glycogen. So the stored food is glycogen. Now the next is about the useful fungi and harmful fungi. We discussed the useful fungi, the common names. These points are given in your book. You can learn the spelling of some common useful fungi, that is Moschella agaricus, which are edible. Yeast is used in bakeries and breweries. Yeast also produces vitamin B. Then fungi are also very good decomposers like that of bacteria. After that, Penicillium is a fungus which is used to produce the antibiotic penicillin. And then some species of Mucor and Penicillium, they are also used for ripening of cheese. So this is about the useful fungus. Then the harmful fungi. Some moles, they can spoil the food, leather goods and textiles. Some fungus can also attack the crops and they damage the crops. And then some common diseases which are caused by fungus, the two main are there which you can learn, that is athlete's foot and ringworm. Ringworm, which we call in Hindi daat. So athlete's foot and ringworm are the two common disease caused by fungi, or you can call them as fungal infection. So this is about the useful and harmful fungi. So just now we have done the recapitulation of kingdom fungi. Now let us move on to the last and very important kingdom, Plantae. Children, kingdom Plantae, I already explained to you in the previous video. So let us just recap this kingdom quickly, discussing the main points. First of all, kingdom Plantae. Let us discuss the main characteristic features. They all are eukaryotes, that means organized nucleus surrounded by a nuclear membrane. Multicellular, made up of more than one cell. With cell wall? Cell wall is there surrounding the outside the cell membrane. And chlorophyll is present. This is the main distinctive feature of kingdom Plantae, that they have the chlorophyll, and that is why they are known as autotrophs, because they can prepare their own food. Then kingdom Plantae is mainly divided into two groups, Cryptograms, which include seedless non-flowering plants. That means Cryptograms have no seed, no flower, no fruit. There are mainly three Cryptograms, the three subgroups: algae, mosses, ferns. We have discussed the characteristic features one by one. Let us just recap. First of all, algae. Now, which is the group of algae? The group name is Thallophyta. So, algae belongs to group Thallophyta. They all are aquatic in habitat. They may be unicellular, multicellular or filamentous. Children, this recall, this point was similar with that of kingdom fungi. They are also unicellular, multicellular or filamentous. And third is, mostly they are green with chlorophyll, but some algae may have color like red and brown also. The common examples you can learn: Spirogyra, Eulothrix, Chlamydomonas. So you must learn any two example of algae. Now, as I told you that we always move from simple to complex. So in kingdom Plantae, the simplest group is algae, in which the body is not differentiated into root, stem and leaves. So you cannot recognize root, stem and leaf in algae. That is why the body is known as thallus. And from that term thallus, given the name, the group name, that is Thallophyta. So this is about algae. Now the next group of cryptograms, mosses. Mosses belongs to the group Bryophyta. So mosses are also known as bryophytes. First, they grow as green velvety. Children, velvety means very soft, smooth appearance. In the moist place, wherever moisture is there, like damp soil, bark of the trees or damp wall. You must have seen mosses or bryophytes growing on the mountains, hilly areas, on the rocks. Then second, they have stem and leaves but no roots. They have stem and leaves, and instead of root they have thread-like structures known as rhizoids, which stick to the surface and absorb water. And the bryophytes or mosses are known as amphibians of plant kingdom. Why? Because they can grow on land. That means on any surface, any moist surface, but they need water to reproduce. That is why they are known as amphibians of plant kingdom. The next group of cryptograms is ferns. Ferns belongs to the group Pteridophyta. So they are also known as pteridophytes. In Pteridophyta, P is silent. They can grow in most of the gardens for their beautiful leaves. So they are grown for ornamental purpose. So they have ornamental value, means they are grown for their beauty. Next, they have well-formed leaves, stem and roots, but they do not produce flowers and seeds. Children, thus recall in algae, there is no root, stem and leaf. In mosses, stem and leaves are present, but there are no roots. And in ferns, leaves, stem and roots all are present, but they do not have flowers and seeds. Then leaves produce the small rounded bodies on their undersurface, which are known as spores. So the ferns reproduce through their spores. So this is about the cryptograms. 3 groups we discussed: algae, mosses and ferns. Now the next very important group of kingdom Plantae are phanerogams. Now what are the main feature? They are the flowering plants with seeds. That means they have the flowers as well as seeds. There are 2 main groups of phanerogams. The first one, Gymnosperms. The second one, Angiosperms. Let us recap these 2 one by one. Gymnosperm. Gymno means naked, sperm means seed. That means they have naked seed. The seed has no covering. That means the seeds are not enclosed within the fruit. So, fruits are not there in gymnosperms. They bear seeds but no fruits. They are mostly evergreen. Means they do not shed all their leaves at one time. And the big trees do not bear true flowers, but they have the seed inside the cones. So instead of flower, the gymnosperm trees have cones. Children, when I explain this topic, I have shown you the cones also, the hard cones, and inside the cones produces spores. So that means gymnosperm can also grow or reproduce through the spores which are present inside the hard cones. Now few examples of gymnosperms: pine, cedar, fir, spruce. Last time I have shown you the pictures of gymnosperm trees also in the previous video. When I explained this topic, I shown the picture of cones as well as pine, cedar, fir and spruce tree. So you have to learn the example of gymnosperm trees. Next comes angiosperms. Now look here. Angio means case or fruit and sperm means seed. That means the seeds are enclosed within the fruit. So children, that means the gymnosperm is the most advanced group of kingdom Plantae. Why? Because they bear fruit, flower as well as seeds. That means all the main parts of the plant are present only in angiosperms. They have root, stem, leaves, flower, fruit as well as seeds. So if I'll ask children which is the simplest group of kingdom Plantae, the answer will be algae. And which is the most complex or advanced group of kingdom Plantae? The answer is angiosperms. Then the seeds develop within the female part of the flower called ovary. The ovary grows into the fruit containing the seeds inside. That means the ovary becomes the fruit and the ovules inside the ovary becomes the seeds. and they are mainly characterized by the presence of seed leaves, which are known as cotyledons. Cotyledon is the main part of the seed which store food for the embryo or baby plant. Now angiosperm, as I discussed with you, that it is of two types, monocot and dicot. You can say monocotyledons or dicotyledons. Mono means one. That means they contain one cotyledon. For example, rice, wheat, maize, grass. Dicot, di means two. That means they contain two cotyledons. For example, rose, pea, beans, gram and mango. So monocot and dicot. In your book, the difference between angiosperm and gymnosperm is given. Also the difference between monocot and dicot is given. Just look here, children. The difference between gymnosperm and angiosperm. First, gymnosperm are mostly woody trees. Angiosperm can be herb, shrub and trees. In gymnosperm, flowers and fruits are absent. Angiosperm, flowers and fruits are present. Gymnosperm, they bear naked seed, means which are not enclosed within a fruit. But angiosperm bears seeds enclosed inside a fruit. In gymnosperm, the reproductive structure are unisexual, means they can be either male or female cones. For example, pine, cedar, fir, spruce. And angiosperm, the reproductive structure are the flowers. The flower can be unisexual or bisexual. Examples, most of the plants which you see in your surrounding, whether they are herb, shrub or trees, they are the example of angiosperms. Because gymnosperms are mainly found in hilly areas. So these are the difference between angiosperm and gymnosperm. Next, the difference between monocot and dicot. First, monocot have a single cotyledon, dicot have two cotyledons. Mono means one, di means two. Monocot, the leaf shows parallel venation. In dicot, the leaf shows reticulate venation. Monocot, fibrous root system is present. You can say fibrous or adventitious root system. In dicot, taproot system is present. In monocot, the stem is usually hollow. But in dicot, the stem is mostly solid. And in the dicot, the trees, what do we call the stem of the tree? Trunk. Examples of monocot like rice, grass, wheat, maize, dicot, pea, beans, rose, gram, etc. Now children, these 2 points, that is second and third one, these 2 points you already have done in the previous class 6 when you have done the chapter leaf. There only we have done the 2 type of venation, parallel in monocot and reticulate in dicot, and the 2 type of taproot system in dicot and fibrous root system in monocot. So children, we have discussed about the 2 main kingdom, that is kingdom fungi and kingdom Plantae. You can do this activity also. We have done this activity in the previous classes also to observe the monocot and dicot seeds. So our recap of the chapter is completed. Just read the whole chapter thoroughly from the book. Underline all the important terms. Complete your written work and also complete your book exercise. I'll share the PDF of the book exercise so that you can cross-check the work. So children, just study on regular basis. Take care of yourself and have a good day. Okay children, bye. Take care.